On April 13, 2025, a day of religious observance for many, the Ukrainian city of Sumy became the site of an unimaginable tragedy. Palm Sunday, a day meant for peace and reflection, was shattered by the deafening roar of missiles and the cries of the wounded. The city, already scarred by the ongoing conflict, was shaken to its core by a devastating missile attack. The streets, once filled with families and children celebrating the holiday, were transformed into scenes of chaos and despair. 2 Russian ballistic missiles struck Sumy in quick succession, leaving behind a trail of death and destruction. The first missile obliterated residential areas, reducing homes to rubble and tearing apart the lives of countless families. The attack, which took place on Palm Sunday, a Christian holiday commemorating Jesus' entry into Jerusalem, carried a cruel irony. A day symbolizing hope and renewal was instead marked by grief and devastation. The toll was horrific, with 34 lives lost, including 2 innocent children who had their futures stolen in an instant. Families gathered to mourn their loved ones, their tears reflecting the collective sorrow of a nation. Among the victims were children, whose laughter once echoed through the streets of Sumy. Now, their absence is a haunting reminder of the cost of war. The attack also left 117 injured, with 15 children and a baby among them. Hospitals were overwhelmed as doctors and nurses worked tirelessly to save lives. The sight of injured children, some too young to understand the horrors they had witnessed, was heart-wrenching. The second missile, carrying a deadly payload of fragmentation elements, detonated in the air above a densely populated area. This calculated act of terror was designed to maximize casualties, spreading shrapnel over a wide radius and targeting civilians indiscriminately. The bustling streets, residential buildings, schools and markets were turned into a scene of carnage. The destruction was not just physical but emotional, leaving scars that will take generations to heal. Sumy, a city that once thrived with life and culture, now stands as a somber testament to the horrors of war. In the aftermath of the attack, Russia's defense ministry put forth a narrative claiming that the strike had targeted a gathering of Ukrainian soldiers. They asserted that over 60 Ukrainian soldiers had been eliminated in the operation. However, this claim was swiftly contradicted by Ukrainian officials and eyewitnesses present at the scene. They vehemently denied any military presence in the area at the time of the attack. Despite the lack of evidence to support their claims, Russia has maintained that the strike was a legitimate military operation. The response from Ukrainian officials was immediate and filled with anguish and anger. President Volodymyr Zelensky, visibly shaken, condemned the attack in the strongest terms. He labeled the perpetrators as deranged scum and issued an impassioned plea for decisive action from the global community. Sumy's acting mayor, Artem Kobzar, described the event as the most horrific attack the city had endured since the war began, underscoring the brutality of the assault on innocent civilians. Interior Minister Ihor Klimenko characterized the attack as a deliberate act of civilian destruction, while Andriy Yermak, a top presidential aide, highlighted the use of cluster munitions, further emphasizing the indiscriminate nature of the attack. The international community reacted with shock and outrage, condemning the Sumy attack as a barbaric act. The scale of destruction and the deliberate targeting of civilian areas left the world grappling with the sheer brutality of the assault. News outlets across continents broadcast harrowing images of the aftermath, amplifying the global outcry. The attack was not just seen as an isolated incident, but as a grim reminder of the escalating violence in the region. World leaders and international organizations expressed their condemnation, calling for accountability and an end to the violence. Protests erupted in major cities worldwide, with demonstrators demanding justice for the victims and immediate action to prevent further atrocities. The United Nations, European Union, and other global bodies issued strong statements, urging all parties to adhere to international law and protect civilian lives. German Chancellor-in-Waiting Friedrich Merz denounced the attack, labeling it a serious war crime. He emphasized the need for a thorough investigation and pledged Germany's support in holding those responsible accountable. Merz's statement resonated with many, as Germany has historically played a significant role in advocating for peace and stability in the region. French President Emmanuel Macron accused Russia of a blatant disregard for human lives. He called the attack a violation of fundamental human rights and urged the international community to unite against such acts of aggression. Macron's words carried weight, as France has been a vocal advocate for diplomacy and conflict resolution. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen described the attack as barbaric, underlining the brutality of the assault. She highlighted the importance of solidarity among EU member states in addressing the crisis and ensuring that justice is served. Von der Leyen also called for increased humanitarian aid to support the affected civilians. United Nations Secretary-General Antonio Guterres expressed alarm, emphasizing the attack's violation of international humanitarian law. He urged all nations to come together to prevent further escalation and to protect the principles of humanity. Guterres also stressed the need for immediate ceasefire negotiations to bring an end to the suffering. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer expressed horror at the loss of innocent lives and the blatant targeting of civilians. He called the attack a stain on humanity and reiterated the UK's commitment to supporting international efforts to hold the perpetrators accountable. Starmer also announced plans to increase aid to the region, ensuring that those affected receive the help they desperately need. Section 5. Sumy, a city under siege. Sumy, a city with a rich history and vibrant culture, now finds itself at the epicenter of a devastating conflict. Once a peaceful hub in northeastern Ukraine, it has become a symbol of resilience amidst chaos. The city of Sumy, situated just about 30 kilometers from the Russian border, has been, well, a recurring target of Russian attacks since the invasion began. Its location, so close to the border, has made it a focal point in this ongoing war. The streets that once bustled with life now echo with the sounds of destruction. You see, this proximity to the border has made Sumy a strategic target, but at the same time, it has also left its civilian population in an incredibly vulnerable position. Families have been torn apart, with many forced to flee their homes, leaving behind everything they once held dear. The human cost of this war is staggering, and Sumy is a stark reminder of that. The city has endured relentless shelling and missile strikes, causing widespread destruction and displacing so many of its residents. Entire neighborhoods have been reduced to rubble, and the once thriving community now struggles to survive amidst the ruins. Makeshift shelters have become the new normal for countless families, as they cling to hope in the face of unimaginable adversity. The Palm Sunday attack, however, truly stands out for its brutality and, honestly, the sheer scale of civilian casualties. It was a day that left an indelible mark on the hearts of Sumy's residents. Emergency responders worked tirelessly to save lives, but the loss was overwhelming. Families mourned loved ones, and the city collectively grieved for the lives cut short. It marks a particularly dark chapter in Sumy's wartime history. The scars of this conflict are etched into the very fabric of the city, a haunting reminder of the cost of war. Yet amidst the devastation, the spirit of Sumy's people endures, a testament to their resilience and determination to rebuild, no matter the odds. Section 6. Echoes of past attacks. The Sumy attack is unfortunately not an isolated incident but part of a troubling pattern of attacks targeting civilian areas in Ukraine. You see, this attack follows a similar incident on April 4, 2025 in Kryvyi Rih, where a Russian strike tragically killed 20 people and injured 61. Just like in Sumy, Russia claimed to have targeted military personnel in Kryvyi Rih, but, well, they provided no evidence to back up this claim. These attacks, along with so many others throughout the conflict, really highlight the devastating human cost of the war in Ukraine. Section 7. Justice and Accountability. Ukraine has been calling for Russia to be held accountable for its actions in Sumy, and honestly, in so many other cities that have been ravaged by this war. In 2025, Ukraine joined the International Criminal Court, or ICC, and as of now, the ICC is investigating potential war crimes committed during the conflict. The involvement of the ICC does offer a glimmer of hope for justice, but let's be real, the path to holding perpetrators accountable is incredibly complex and, yeah, full of challenges. Section 8. The Human Cost of War. The attack on Sumy stands as a stark and painful reminder of the devastating human cost of the ongoing war in Ukraine. Thousands of civilians have lost their lives, and sadly, millions more have been displaced. Families have been torn apart, cities lie in ruins, and the psychological scars of this war, they run deep. The international community, for its part, continues to grapple with the scale of this humanitarian crisis, working to provide aid and support to the millions of people who have been affected. Section 9. A world on edge. The attack on Sumy has sent shockwaves far beyond Ukraine's borders, reverberating through the international community. It's a sobering reminder of just how fragile peace can be and the devastating consequences of unchecked aggression. This attack has also intensified calls for a diplomatic solution to the conflict, and honestly, the world is watching with growing concern and an urgent hope for an end to the bloodshed.